So I'm recording this for one of my students. We are doing the Matchy Sewing Club apron pocket pants, but we're doing an adaptation per her specific need. So this video is for Lindsay, but if you're seeing this, it's for you too. We are making the pants out of knit, and she has sized down on hers, and she is doing the narrower leg. I think it's a view B. I'm going to do the wide. I did not size down. I am very good with mine being nice and roomy and comfy. So the first thing that we did different is that we cut into the pant the pocket, and we're putting a pocket behind instead of a pocket on top, because knits don't behave as well that way. So what we need to do is that we have to finish the edge of what is now going to be the pocket. So this is the front curve of the pant, and this is the pocket curve. So I cut 2-inch binding pieces. It's not cut on the bias, it's just cut straight down the selvage line. And I didn't cut them to a certain length because I'm going to trim them, and that's not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think it might be easier if I go ahead and sew the center seam so I don't get confused about which curve is the side and which curve is the front. So we're going to do that. So you're going to put your fabric right sides together. And I like to clip here. So I like to clip at the ends and then clip in the middle.
So you played all the correct notes. We just want to make sure we're at the correct point. But otherwise, Casey, you did really, really good on that.
Okay, so I'm using 4 clips. Now we will serge. So I am going to take off a little on the side because you have to cut off a little on the serger to get it to have a good serge. And with the curve, we're just going to make it straight. Okay, so that was the center seam of the pants. And now I feel good visually about doing the pockets here. So I'm going to take this strip, and it's kind of roly-poly. I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it in half. And I am going to clip it starting at the top. And I'm going to go past the top just a little bit. And after I sew it, I'm going to trim that. And then I'm going to just tug on my strip just a little bit. And I'm just going to clip it light right along there. If you tug the binding just a little bit more than the pocket, and just a titch, that will make it so that when it flips out, it will lay flat. And that is the binding tip. I hope it's not confusing that it's in the ear. I'll do the other one on the table.
I know you had one before, but if you can find the one, that'd be great.
Okay. So I have the binding clipped to the pant. And now I'm going to trim off my extra fabric so it looks like this. You have a little bit longer ends. And now I'm going to serge it. And I am serging this so the binding is on the top. So that looks pretty good. That lays nice and flat. And so you need to do, well, you don't have to, but it's helpful to do something along here to make this binding stay in place. But it's not, I think this, because of up here and up here, it's not absolutely necessary to top stitch here, but I'm going to do my cover stitch. You could do a twin needle, you could do a slight little zigzag. There's multiple options. It's knit, so whenever you're doing a top stitch, you want it to be able to have a little stretch. I'm going to do it, I'm going to cover stitch and you can see what this is. But I do think that this, if you skipped this step, you'd be okay. So now that lays really nice and flat. Okay, so we're going to do the binding on the other one. So we have our 2-inch strip folded in half. Just be careful with it. And we're going to lay it past here. And the reason why I do it past here is because anytime I try and match it up, this little strip seems to slip down for me. So I have just learned to just go past. So I'm going to clip there. And then I'm going to find my edges here. And I'm going to stretch it just the tiniest little bit. Clip. Stretch. Clip. Stretch. And clip. And now I'm going to trim this. And then you just sew it again like I did the other one. I have both sides done. And my favorite way is to just take a rotary cutter and trim off that end. And then go from here and go straight up, trim off that end.
So now we're going to do skips, right? Anytime you see space, like space up or space down, line up, you know it's automatic skip, okay?
Okay, so now we're going to take our adapted pocket. So the pocket piece had a line here, and we added a piece of paper behind here to make a different kind of pocket because it's going behind the leg. So here are our 2 pocket pieces. So I'm going to lay out this one like this. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to lay it on top there. I'm going to lay it right here. And then we're going to use a little air. We're going to lift this up to pull it out. Whenever you work with knits, you're going to use air. Air works better than smoothing.
Yeah, yeah. And then second line is very similar. Except this time, oh wait, are you doing the first line or the second?
Okay, so we're going to use this template so that we know where the pocket is at. So here it is completely matched up, and we're going to shift it in just a little bit so you can still feel it. And you're going to use your fingers, and I'm going to pin this all the way along that line. If that feels difficult, you can just lay this on top and you can draw a line and then stitch on the inside of that line. But I actually don't even need the template to feel it, because you just feel it with your fingers. But we have it shifted just for the sake of your learning. And I'm going to take the pins making sure that I've got both this and this. And I moved the template off because I can just feel it with my hands. It was easier. Just making sure that I'm keeping those layers together. So Sew House 7 has a very excellent tutorial on this kind of pocket with the Tumala jumpsuit, which is how I learned this kind of pocket. And she uses a twin needle, and she goes over some really good tips on the twin needle. So I'm going to let you hop over to that to check out that twin needle and how to sew the pocket. And I'm going to show you with my cover stitch since it is all set up. And also, if you haven't sewn a Tumala jumpsuit, I highly recommend doing it. Highly. I've made 18 of them. Okay, so now we're gonna go top stitch this pocket in place. Okay, so you're gonna feel it. The edge of these two is gonna go to the left side of your foot. And you're gonna feel it, so I feel this right here. Here's the front with the stitching. And then here's the back. And you can see that this extends a little past it, and that's completely fine. So now we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. I have both sides done now. You can see how I have pins kept in them to keep the sides that are not stitched together. So we're done with the front for now. So here's our back piece. I'm going to go ahead and make it so the right sides are facing each other. And you can clip or pin. I like clips with knit when I'm doing the seams. I should do this on the table so you can see it better. Hold on. I personally do a lot of things in the air, but I understand for the purpose of you seeing this that maybe we should do it so it's a little more visually aware for you. Okay, so we have the two pants. Here's the crotch seam. Here's the side. And I kind of feel like I have to lay down the first one and then lay the second one because knits are wiggly. Okay, so I have the bottom piece laying flat, and I'm going to take this top piece and I'm going to lay it on top of there. Doesn't matter what's happening here, doesn't matter what's happening there, only really matters what's happening right here. So I'm going to clip at the top. I'm going to clip at the bottom. And I'm going to clip here, clip here, clip here. And you want to make sure your two edges are together. Let's go sew it. Okay, so we have the back seam of our pajama bottoms. Those are done. So now we're gonna put the fronts and the backs together. You ready? So I'm gonna lay down the back. And with the right sides facing each other, because we sew everything on the inside out. So we'll lay this facing down. Now we are gonna clip together and sew the side legs. So I like to do the top, then I like to go all the way down to the bottom and clip that. Then I'm gonna go to the middle. That's the middle-ish. I'm gonna clip that. And then I'm gonna separate that, and I'm gonna clip the middle. And then I'm gonna separate that, and I'm gonna clip the middle. So then with this, I'm gonna find the middle. It's all about the middle when you're clipping a length. And the reason why we clip middles is because if you were just to start at the top and you work your way down, things can shift. And especially since we're working with a knit, we don't want that. We don't want that shift.
When I was in California last week, really cool Lego store at the mall.
Okay, so this goes off a little bit. We're not going to worry about that because the serger is going to take care of that.
That's really neat.
Okay, so now we're going to, there it's clipped.
We were in Denver.
Now we're going to go serge it. You really want to make sure to trim off some so that you see how I'm trimming off. It's about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 inch. These are designed to have, I believe, a 3/8 inch seam allowance, so you can trim some off. Okay, so that's one side is done. Now we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. So the pant sides are both together, and now we are going to do the middle leg. So we'll go back to the table for that. So on this one, so here's the leg, and here's where the crotch, where they intersect. And I'm gonna first pin those together, and I'm gonna send one serge going one way and one serge going the other way so that they flat lock together. Can you see that? It's hard. I have this nearsighted vision thing where I can't quite see if you can see it. I think you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to clip that in the middle, and then I'm going to clip clear at the end. And I apologize for any background noise that you might hear. I don't know how much you will. My husband's teaching piano in the other room. Okay, so then we are going to go to the middle. So we have the crotch, the end of the leg, and we're going to clip the middle.
But whatever is the first is the tonic, and whatever is the fifth is the dominant. That's simple, okay? So
Always clip to the middle.
So a lot of times people just remember tonic is 1, dominant is 5. Okay? So yeah, so all we're doing is tonics and dominants. Hear that. Excellent. That's perfect. Did you do the little writing assignment below that?
Okay, so now I'm going to move it down. Here's the center, the crotch, and then here's the end of the leg.
It shows all bass clef.
I'm going to clip the end of the leg, and then I'll do the middles again.
Would that be tonic or dominant? Nope, it's bass clef, not treble clef. That'd be an A if it was treble clef. It's a C in the bass clef. So would that be a tonic or dominant? Yeah. And then how about measure 2? We have yep. How about measure 3? Yep. How about measure 4? 5. And the last one. You got it. Good job. Very good. Okay, how about the bicycle song? I like that one. That's my favorite one. I like it.
All right, we are clipped.
So girl on the bicycle and boy on the
It's time to
bicycle,
sew.
same thing.
And here we go.
That's really cute.
So when you're sewing, your left hand is your surfer, your right hand is your pincher. And you need it smooth like here. We don't care what's happening here, but just smooth right up by that foot. And you can see my bottom has shifted out just a little past the top. I don't worry about that. In fact, I want to see the bottom when I sew, so I know that I'm sewing the bottom. It's easy for the bottom to shift over, and then there's problems. So I'm going to take off this clip, and I want this seam to stay. So I'm going to put my surfers, my left hand on here. And I just clip off the ends because there's going to be another thing containing that. If we didn't, I'd do something different with my ends. But we're going to hem it, and then the top one's going to go into the waistline, so everything is getting contained. All right, so there we go. Now it's time to make the waistband. Because the waistband just goes on top here. So this is going pretty quick. Okay, so for the waistband piece, this piece, what we need to do is we need to take the fabric, make it so right sides are touching each other, facing each other. And then we got to sew up the side and serge, both sides, to make one big circle. So here it is. Serged on that end and serged on that end. So now we're going to take this and we're going to hold it in our hands like this and push the seam down, and we're going to fold one end over the other, and this will make a waistband.
There you go.
So I have my pants still with the wrong side out. And I'm going to take this side and I'm going to put it right into the seam. And I'm going to, this is laying, do you see how this is laying this way? I'm going to make the side seam lay the opposite way so that they flat lock and connect well. So I'll do that. Then I'm going to find the other side. Lay it flat. Bring it over. Put this on top. And then we do the middles. So I'm going to shake it and lay it. And I'm going to make sure I know that everything is laying down nice and flat and it's not twisted.
That's it. Well done.
Okay, so now I'm going to move this. I'm going to do the middle. And mine's really rolling, but we're not going to worry about it. You just take it really nice and slow. You unroll one layer, unroll the next layer, unroll the next layer, and then just lay them together. Nice and flat. Okay, so we are all rolly there. So we're going to start with the back one this time. Gather the second one, then unroll this one and lay it flat. We don't stress about it because there's nothing you can do. Just gotta take your time. And it looks like I'm gonna have to clip more because we got some roly-polies. So clip until things are like that. Looks pretty good. That's laying flat. I don't need to put a clip there, but I do need to put a clip between these two so the fabric doesn't slip. I like to put clips about every 3 to 4 inches on a project. That's kind of my rule of thumb. More if the fabric is not behaving correctly. So I'm going to lift it up, get some air in there, lay it down, find the middle, and this time I'm going top layer to the waistband layers.
And so we call this note because it starts on C, we call it a C chord.
This one I'm going to do 2. So I'm going to break down that middle.
On page 49,
It just is looking like that's what it needs to lay flat.
Sometimes you can have one thing and it can have a lot of different names. And another name.
Essentially, if you're worried about it, follow the worry.
Okay. But for now, let's just know it as a C chord. And that's just, you have 3 notes in it. You have a tonic, a dominant, and you have a middle. Okay? So, this one is just having you practice. So look at where it says warm-ups. So notice how it plays C and E and then high. So you don't have to play
Okay.
you just add the
So now we can take it.
and you do it again. C and G, and then add the E. And then you play them all together.
Shake it,
C, E, G, C, E.
and then we're going to lay it down again.
Left hand has the same. Now, notice we have 2 little exercises. One's called blocked chord study, and one is called broken chord study. They're both doing using the same C, E, G chord, but here's what it means. When you do a blocked chord, that means you play all the members of that chord together as one block. And so if you see an I in music like that, that just means the one chord or the C chord.
Okay, so I have got a little extra stretchy stretch here. So this right here situation tells me that I didn't put this in the middle, and I need to redo a little bit of my work. And that's okay. It matters that we do it, not that we have to do it.
So left hand can play chords and right hand can play melody.
So I need to move that.
And then that's how they support each other. So in this song for a snare chord, that's exactly what's happening. Notice.
Okay, so now we're going to sew in a circle. And that is different. So I'm going to explain that to you. So when you have to sew in a circle, like there's no beginning or ending, I like to do it on a side. So I'm going to start here before. Take off this clip. So I'm going to go in at an angle, and then I'm going to quickly shift it. And I'm going to hold this down while it stitches. So now I got a little lump here. You have to keep your lumps between the clip. So I'm going to stretch it. If you let that just move, you're going to have a pucker when you get to the end. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to stretch. So you see how this curves here, because that's where we started. We curved into it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut that off and we're going to move to the straight. So you see how it's lining up, and then it's going to go straight. We cross over, and then we're going to find our way off. And you want this to be as straight as possible. And now we're going to take this thread, I'm going to pull it so it knots up right there. And then I can trim it. But you know what I realized that I did? Is I did not... So I sewed the whole way around and I did not leave an opening.
We were at the Denver airport.
Happens. Happens. So... Okay, so what we're going to do to fix that is I'm just going to seam rip. And I'm putting it in the back. So I'm just going to go down the seam. And I don't need a huge hole. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so that's gotten started. And then I'm going to open this up. I think I need to start here. Okay, and then I think I can go from this side, and I can. What happened to his eyes? Oh, you're gonna switch them. Okay. I was like, wait. I didn't know you had see-through. That's really cool. It is so not a big deal to seam rip. Not, you just, if you're gonna sew, you're gonna seam rip. So don't get an attitude, don't get all want. Just grab a good seam ripper. I like this one, it's little here. They're not very much. I buy them. I buy them either on TikTok Shop or on Temu, which I think they come from Temu, even if they're on TikTok Shop. You can buy them on Amazon, but they're like 10 bucks and they're like $3 the other way. They're definitely worth $10 though. They are like a $10 seam ripper. Okay, so I now have my hole. I'm gonna get that cleaned up just a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna do the elastic. So I like this kind of elastic. I get it on Amazon. This is a 2-inch. I don't even know if they do a 1.5 inch, but it doesn't matter because you can trim it. So that was an extra piece. So you want to take your elastic and you want to wrap it around your body at where you want them to sit. And it depends on how sensitive you are. If you like your waistband tight, then make it tight. I have a very sensitive waist and it can't be compressed at all. So I breathe out and I check out where is it at. Because you want it to overlap. And that's how I choose the width. And the thing that's interesting is it's probably the same size as my waist for how I like a waistband to fit as I tug up my waistband. I'd rather tug up my waistband though than want to tear my pants off. And I live in jumpsuits half the time, so I'm kind of anti-waistband to some degree. So when I add a waistband, it has to be gentle. And so I am going to cut off a 1/2 inch off of this. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to lay this out. I'll lay this over at 1.5 inches. So it's into the ruler, and then I'm going to use my cutter and I'm just going to cut off a 1/2 inch. Okay, so now I can put it through the waistband. I'm gonna get a nice big safety pin. I might use this. This is kind of a weird safety pin, but it's really super strong. So go in and back out. I'm gonna find my hole. And it is a little tricky to do this if you've never tried to thread something through, but you have to push it over and then pull it, and push it over and pull it, push it over and pull it. And I can tell already with this fabric and this waistband, I am gonna have to stitch down the middle on mine for it not to shift. Hi, Shiloh. What you need, Shiloh? Oh, yeah. She would like to have dinner again. She's already had dinner once. Why don't you go ask your dad? Your dad's free. Yeah, go ask him. Maybe, do you need to go potty? You need to go potty? Dad will take you. Go, he'll take you. So as I'm going, it's kind of moving down like this, and I am going to take the time just to make that lay flat. Okay, so now that I have it in, it's really imperative that you try it on. Because you need to know how did it, look at that. My pocket slipped. So we got to seam rip that. And I gotta undo the elastic before that. But this would be the point where you try it on and make sure that your elastic is good. But I gotta fix this, so I'll be back. Okay, so you wanna try it on and you want to adjust your elastic so until it like just fits right and feels right. If for some reason your elastic was small, you could add to it at this point. But I'll let you stand back from you. Shiloh, move, and you can see. And I'm kind of glad that I did my first sew through of these in knit, because I honestly like more space. And I want to, these are not designed to be as high-waisted as I like. Okay, so I am going to stitch the elastic together and then I'll close it up and then we can hem it. And while I have it on, I'm going to assess, I need to cut off 2 inches and then I can hem 1, and so that will take 3 inches off the bottom. And I think that's what I need. These feel like I'm wearing nothing. They're amazing. Okay, so I am gonna go get some Christmas lights with my husband for the tree upstairs, and I may or may not finish this tonight. So if I look different in the rest of the video, there might be that. Or I might come home and be like, yes, I'm ready to finish this. We'll just see. So I'm just putting this here just in case I look different the next time that this video concludes. All right, see ya.